Hello everyone. In this video, I would like to discuss about AWS networking, VPC, and some of the associated components. We will cover a lot of AWS services in this video. In the subsequent videos, we will do hands-on demo and create VPC from scratch. AWS Cloud is divided into several regions. A region is a physical location around the world where AWS has its data centers. AWS maintains multiple regions in North America, South America, Europe, Asia, etc. Each AWS region consists of multiple isolated availability zones. An availability zone is one or more discrete data centers with redundant power, cooling, physical security, networking, and low latency connectivity. What is a VPC? VPC or Virtual Private Cloud is a service that lets you create or launch Amazon resources in a logically isolated virtual network that you define. VPC is a regional resource. All AWS accounts, when first created, have a default VPC in every region. With VPC, we have complete control of our virtual networking environment, including IP ranges, subnets, route, etc. There are several advantages of using the VPC, like secure and monitored network connections. It is also logically isolated from other VPCs in the AWS cloud. It's customizable, where you choose how many IPs do you need in a particular network. For example, when you first create a VPC, you have to specify the CIDR range, which specifies what is your base IP and how many bits of the IP that you can modify. In this particular example, we will be able to modify 16 bits, which makes this network have about 65,536 or 2 to the power 16 IP addresses available. VPC, as we see, that it spans across multiple availability zones within a region. There comes the concept of subnets. VPC spans multiple availability zones. After creating a VPC, we can add one or more subnets in each availability zones. A subsection of the VPC's IP range gets associated with the subnets. There are two types of subnets, public and private. Resources like your load balancers, bastion hosts are deployed in the public subnets, whereas resources like your application servers, your database, etc. are deployed in your private subnets. The question is, what makes them public or private? Before we answer that, let's talk about Internet Gateway. An Internet Gateway is a horizontally scaled, redundant, and highly available VPC component that allows communication between the VPC and the Internet. To enable Internet access, we create a VPC and an Internet Gateway and attach it to the VPC. Add a route to the subnet's route table that directs the Internet-bound traffic to Internet Gateway. Here is a sample route table for a public subnet, where the outbound traffic to the Internet is routed to Internet Gateway. Any subnet whose associated route table has a route to the Internet Gateway becomes public subnet. If the subnet's route table doesn't have a route, it's a private subnet. For example, the route table for the private subnet looks something like this, where the traffic stays local. But there are situations when we want our private instances to connect to the Internet. For example, to download the security patches, or to connect to any other AWS services like S3 or DynamoDB. But at the same time, prevent the Internet from initiating a connection to those instances. We can achieve this by using something called NAT gateways. NAT gateways are created in public subnets and have an elastic IP address associated with them. After creating a NAT gateway, we can modify the route tables in the private subnets to point the Internet-bound traffic to NAT gateway. For example, here is the updated route table for the private subnet. Let's talk about security groups. A security group acts as a firewall for instances to control inbound and outbound traffic. Security groups act at an instance level, not subnet level. For example, if you have a web server, you may want to open the port 80 or 443, but block other ports from accessing the instance from outside. Or you can allow access to SSH from a particular IP address range, for example, from your corporate data center, etc. You can achieve this by using security group. The security groups rules are stateful. If you are allowing incoming traffic on a particular port, for example 80, outgoing traffic is automatically allowed. Let's talk about NACL, or Network Access Control List. NACL is an optional layer of security for your VPC that acts as a firewall for controlling traffic in and out of one or more of your subnets. This can provide additional layer of security. For example, if you have a database instance in a subnet, which you only want to be accessed by a subnet where application servers are deployed. Rules in the NACL are stateless. An inbound rule does not guarantee the same for outbound. You have to specify both allow and deny rules in both directions. There are instances where you have multiple VPCs in your account and you need to access resources in other VPCs. How do you do that? The VPC peering solves this problem. A VPC peering connection is a network connection between two VPCs that enables you to route traffic between them. Instances in either VPC can communicate with each other as if they are on the same network. You can create VPC peering connection between your own VPC or a VPC in another account. VPCs can be in different regions as well. AWS uses existing infrastructure of a VPC to create VPC peering connection. There is no single point of failure or bandwidth bottleneck. Here I have cleaned up the diagram a little bit as I'm going to discuss a few more concepts. Now you have created your VPC and you have a need to connect the VPC to a corporate data center. How do we do that? By default, the instances in your VPC cannot communicate with the remote network. There are two ways we can connect AWS VPC to corporate data center. First way is site-to-site VPN. This lets you establish a VPN tunnel between AWS VPC and on-site network and support IPsec or Internet Protocol Security VPN connections. The way you do is you create a customer gateway device, which is a physical device or application on the data center, and a customer gateway, which is an AWS resource which provides information about the gateway device. On the AWS side, you create something called virtual private gateway. A virtual private gateway is the VPN concentrator on the Amazon side of site-to-site VPN connection. These help you establish a VPN tunnel, which is an encrypted link to transmit data to and from the data center and AWS VPC. Every VPN connection includes two VPN tunnels for high availability. Another way to connect a VPC to data center is by using Direct Connect. AWS Direct Connect enables you to securely connect AWS environment to the on-site data center over a standard 1 gig or 10 gigabit Ethernet fiber optic connection. This is dedicated low latency connection which bypasses internet secure service provider in your network path. So this is a dedicated connection that you can use. Let's discuss VPC endpoints. When you connect your EC2 instance to other AWS services like S3 or DynamoDB, the traffic is routed through the internet. In many situations, this is unacceptable due to governance and compliance needs. A VPC endpoint enables private connection between your VPC and supported AWS service. VPC endpoint services are powered by AWS Private Links. AWS Private Link is a technology that enables you to privately access services by using private IP addresses. The traffic between your VPC and the other services never leave Amazon network. A VPC endpoint does not require an internet gateway, virtual private gateway, VPN connection, or NAT device. The instances in private subnet can access the AWS services using VPC endpoints without the need to create NAT gateways. I hope this was informational. In the subsequent videos, we will create some of these components and have a hands-on demo. So please join me in the next section. Thank you so much for watching.